Hi everybody, Lady Mal again. Today's topic is going to be, I'm covering the saying safe, sane, and consensual. Today's vlog is going to be the safe version of this. And as usual, I have my notes, so if I look down, I'm just trying to keep up with where I'm at. The first thing I want to talk about is health concerns. If you have a health condition like you have diabetes, you have asthma, you have bad joints, bad circulation, anything like that, you need to talk about that with your top, because that needs to be taken into consideration. Like me, I'm asthmatic, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to have an asthma attack every time. But that does mean that when I'm playing in a scene, my inhaler is going to be somewhere nearby where either I can get to it or my master can get to it and hand it to me. If you're diabetic, you might want to have, if you're on insulin, or if you just need like juice or cookies or candy or whatever nearby, just in case. Also, it's good to keep water around. If you're going to be in a prolonged scene, both of you are probably going to get tired. So having water or like Powerade, Gatorade, whatever, I would avoid like coffee or sodas, because that just makes you more dehydrated. Water's good, power drinks are good. You want to talk about your limits before you go into a scene. I have two categories that I like to put myself into, and then one category that should never be used. The first one is hard limits. Hard limits to me means I absolutely will not do this. Like for me, a hard limit is single tail whips. Different strokes for different folks, but for me, I don't do them. If someone tried to use one on me, I would end the scene, which is what you should do, and then I would probably end the relationship, because that's a limit that I'm not willing to be pushed past, and if you try to push me past it, then you've overstepped your rights. Then there are soft limits, like I'll do A as long as it's followed up with B, like I will let you flog me until I am bruised and bleeding, but there has to be aftercare afterwards. You're not just gonna do what you want to and then hang me out to dry. There always needs to be aftercare. Then there's the group called No Limits, which is a bunch of crap. Everybody has limits. If someone says, "Oh, I have no limits," they're lying, and you need to stop the scene. Because that's not healthy. That can go in a bunch of really bad directions. That could go into abuse, rape, mental abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, and none of those are really kosher. That's not why you're in this scene. When you do go into a scene, there are some things that you need to follow in order to be safe. You want clearly defined roles. Who's the top? Who's the bottom? Through the whole scene, are we going to keep these roles, or at some point are we going to take a break, take a little bit of a breather, untie, unshackle, whatever, and switch roles? I personally don't like that, because I'm not a switch. I'm going to be submissive, period. But if both people are switches and you want to switch during the middle of a scene, talk about it beforehand, because that way you keep the flow going of the scene and you don't end up getting in the middle of the scene and you're going, okay, switch, and you're like, wait, what? I'm not in the right frame of mind for this. As long as you're informed, then that's the way to go. Expectations. When you go into a scene, you need to talk it over and say, okay, we're going to do A, B, and C, and then F, G, and H. This is what I expect as a submissive. Granted, I'm not going to say a whole lot, but this is what I expect to get from this scene, and the Dom should put out what they expect to get from the scene. That way, there's no surprises. I mean, there could be surprises, obviously, but there's no bad surprises. Again, back to the health needs, you need to make sure that everything is in order in case something should go wrong. I mean, God forbid something does go wrong, because nobody wants that to happen. But if you're prepared, then, you're good to go. You need to make sure the gear that you're using, that you have the right rope, which I will go into in another vlog. The right chains, your shackles have been taken care of, your leather toys have been taken care of. that you're not using substandard equipment, because again, something could break, something could happen, it could go all wrong. You also need to discuss whether after the scene there's going to be sexual contact, because I've been in a number of scenes where, okay, I've been on a St. Andrew's cross, I've taken a beating, I've been taken down, essential oil rubbed into my back, and then I was turned loose. And that's fine. Not every scene has to end in sex. Now, 90% of scenes do end in sex, but that's something else that you need to discuss with your top to make sure that, yes, okay, after we play, there's going to be sex. That way it's consensual and safe and sane. See where this all kind of ties in together? The last thing I want to talk about real quick is safe words, verbal and nonverbal. Verbal safe words. I've had a number of safe words. I've had daffodils, because really, when during a scene is the word daffodil going to come into play? I've also used ouch, because I am very much a pain slut, and if I say ouch, you've gone way over the line. And yeah, I've also heard the system of red, yellow, green. You know, green is good to go, everything's fine. Yellow means, hey, whoa, we don't have to stop the scene, but we need to pull it back a little bit and slow it down a little bit. Red means stop, take off the shackles, take out the ball gag, take off everything. We have to sit down and talk. You've hit a hard limit, or you've hit a limit that I can't take anymore. I haven't actually ever had to use those, but they work. Usually safe words are words that aren't going to come up in the scene a lot, depending on your situation. Like daffodils, I've heard of coconuts. I had a friend that used monkey. So, you know, to each their own. Then there's nonverbal safe words, like if you've got a ball gag in, or you've been told not to speak. The little super bouncy balls, or like Nerf balls, or something that'll fit in the palm of your hand, that you can hold on to. So that way, if you hit a limit, or you need to stop, or whatever, you can drop the ball. And the dominant knows, okay, hey, we need to talk about it. I can't stress enough the importance of safe words. They're called safe words for a reason. You don't want to be pushed further than what your body can actually handle. You also need, under the whole safe, and this kind of ties in with sane too, you need to figure out why you're in the scene before you ever start anything, in order to be safe for yourself. If you're in this scene because you've had some bad things happen to you in the past, and it's reinforcing negative experiences, then you don't need to be in this scene. I personally have been abused. Abused in the scene even. But I got help. And so I'm not really in it for all the wrong reasons. I understand where my hang-ups are and whatnot. And now, unfortunately, I have rambled too much. So this is going to be another two-parter. So if you're enjoying it, which I hope you are, please keep watching for the next part. And I will talk to you all in just a bit. Mwah! Bye for now.